Now how did this happen? Kaguya has 360 vision and 6 paths senjutsu. How could she possibly have been caught off guard here? The first thought people have is the Byakugan's blind spot. The thing is though, Kid Neji's blind spot was barely big enough to fit an arrow that Kidomaru had to basically defeat physics in order to get it through the tiny window it has. Now I don't know about you, but Sakura looks just a little bit bigger than an arrow. There is also an assumption that Kaguya's Byakugan works the same way as Kid Neji's when, for example, other dojutsu like hers and Madara's Rinnegan work differently from, let's say, the one Nagato has. So we don't even know if Kaguya's would even have a blind spot. And even if we were to grant all of this, it still wouldn't even matter because she has senjutsu. So she would sense her by default anyway. In order to explain what is happening here, we need to go into how getting caught off guard works in real life. In MMA, boxing, kickboxing, or even in what is colloquially known as the streets, being caught off guard is the only way you get hit, since you never plan to just eat a punch and get brain damage for nothing in return. Now, keeping your emotions in check is of utmost importance, since people have this weird misconception that when you get angry, you get better. No, when you get angry, you lose. There's thousands of examples of fighters getting angry and immediately making mistakes. In fact, frustrating your opponent is a tactic used by many, since it's easier to give an opening to your opponent when frustrated, meaning it's easier for you to get distracted the more intense emotions you are feeling. Once you are distracted, your durability goes down to the point where even seemingly light or slowish strikes can KO you. So if being distracted for a split second, even when being aware that you are in a fight, can have this type of an effect to you, what do you think would happen if you got so distracted that you forgot you were in the middle of a fight? 6 Paths Naruto used the sexy jutsu in order to distract Kaguya and land a punch. This is beyond distraction. I call this horn distraction. She got so distracted she completely forgot she was in a fight for her life. This is so much worse than being in the zone fighting and a punch that you don't see hit you. This is the equivalent of a fighter drinking water and someone just punching them out of nowhere. You aren't just off guard here, you are gone. Doesn't matter where you're facing, since most KOs happen in front of fighters anyway, obviously. Then later on, Kaguya proceeds to get stronger by stabilizing and getting the 10 tails under control, as the fight reaches its climax, where she is fighting for her life against threats from everywhere. That's when she gets caught. Get this, she managed to damage a more on guard and stronger Kaguya than the one 6 Paths Naruto did. She even bruised her cheek by punching the back of her head, whereas Naruto's punch was shrugged off. So how do we reason this? Obviously you'd have to say a mental lump, possibly the biggest one in the entire series. And honestly, when you think about it, a character getting the biggest hump in the most important moment of the series against the most dangerous foe isn't that crazy, right? The point is, how do you reason her speed? Well, for this we can go back to what I said earlier, that a strike doesn't always have to be fast in order to catch you off guard. You can also add Kaguya underestimating Sakura and Kakashi earlier on and treating them like ants, much like she does to all humans. It would make even more sense for Kaguya to focus on the 2 big immediate threats. Only then, for a human who, much like the rest, she considered insignificant, landed a significant enough punch to allow for the opening that Naruto and Sasuke needed to seal her. To synthesize, Sakura's mental lump, that might be the biggest in the series, raised her attack potency enough to damage a less off-guard and stronger Kaguya than the one Naruto punched and caused less damage. Her speed, however, doesn't need to scale so high that she's blitzing Kaguya. since you don't have to be that fast to catch someone off guard. That being said, even if you are not that fast, you still have to be comparable enough. You can't be so much slower than your opponent, but still be able to catch them off guard. So I'd say Lowbolt, at least faster than her peak, maybe around 10 tails level speed-wise in this tier list, for example. Cause you'd still need to have insane speed to pull that off, but not necessarily top tier level. If you guys have any other thoughts, I'd love to hear and learn from you, as long as you are polite enough, of course. Thanks for watching.